The greatest triumphs and most painful setbacks of your life were not random acts of fate. They were conversations. Every opportunity you received and every door that closed in your face was a direct response from the universe, a message in a language you were never taught to understand. The problem is not that the universe is silent, but that we have forgotten how to listen. We are fluent in the languages of limitation and doubt, but deaf to the native tongue of creation itself. This guide is your Rosetta Stone. It will teach you to decode the universal language of frequency, energy, and vibration, allowing you to move from passively wishing for a better life to actively commanding it into existence. You are about to learn that you are not just a spectator in your own life. You are the conductor of a cosmic symphony. Universal Language, a Guide to Cosmic Communication, written and published by Success Attraction Formula. Chapter 1. First, tune into your own frequency. Have you ever felt as though you are shouting your desires into an empty, soundless void? You meticulously craft your goals, you work with diligence, you speak your affirmations, and you try to hold a positive vision for your future. Yet, in the quiet moments, a profound sense of futility can creep in. It feels like you are sending out heartfelt letters to the universe, only for them to be marked, "Return to sender, unopened." This experience is not just disappointing, it is deeply corrosive to the human spirit. It breeds a quiet desperation and a creeping sense of powerlessness, leading you to believe that perhaps success, true abundance, and effortless joy are reserved for a select few who were born with a secret advantage or some unearned luck. You scroll through social media or watch the news and see others who seem to attract opportunities with magnetic ease, and the painful question echoes in your mind, what mystical secret do they possess that I do not? In a state of frustration, you try to copy their external actions. You work longer hours, you force yourself to network at events that drain your soul, you adopt complex new strategies, but the results remain frustratingly inconsistent. The core of this struggle lies in a fundamental, yet widespread misunderstanding of where the process of creation truly begins. We have been taught that to receive, we must first loudly ask and aggressively act in the external world. The truth is, the most critical and powerful step is to first turn inward, to become silent, and to listen to the signal you are already broadcasting. You are trying to transmit a clear message to the cosmos, but your own broadcast is hopelessly jammed with the static of self-doubt, the interference of past failures, and the conflicting, chaotic messages of your deepest fears. Your inner world, the very source of your creative power, is a storm of contradictory energies. A fleeting hope for success, immediately followed by a wave of anxiety about failure, a clear desire for wealth undercut by a subconscious belief that you are unworthy of it. This internal noise corrupts your signal, making it weak, confusing, and impossible for the universe to respond to with the clarity and abundance you seek. The transformative, life-altering solution is to completely reverse your approach. Stop focusing all your energy on broadcasting and instead dedicate yourself to the art of tuning your own instrument. Before you can send a clear, powerful, and coherent request for abundance out into the world, you must first cultivate a clear, powerful, and coherent frequency within yourself. Think of yourself as a sophisticated radio tower. Your personal frequency is the unique energetic signature you broadcast into the world, a signature created by the sum total of your dominant thoughts, your most prevalent emotions, and your deepest, often unconscious core beliefs. It is the silent, invisible broadcast you are sending out every second of every day. And it is this signal, not your words or actions alone, that determines what you attract into your life. When this frequency is pure, stable, and perfectly aligned with your desires, you become a powerful, resonant magnet for the very opportunities, people, and resources you want. When it is chaotic, weak, and misaligned, you inadvertently repel them, no matter how hard you work. The journey to mastering the universal language does not begin with speaking. It begins with achieving a state of profound inner clarity and coherence. It is a dedicated, internal process of meticulously cleaning up your own signal, eliminating the static of limiting beliefs and amplifying the pure tone of your soul's true intentions. This paradigm shift from a mindset of outward begging to one of inward alignment is the foundational secret that separates those who struggle endlessly from those who create with a sense of grace and ease. It is about becoming a perfect vibrational match for the reality you wish to inhabit, which makes its eventual manifestation not just a hopeful possibility, but a natural, logical, and inevitable outcome. The first practical step in this delicate tuning process is to become a conscious and impartial observer of your inner static. This static is the ceaseless, internal chatter of your limiting beliefs, the negative self-talk that has been playing on a loop in the back of your mind for so long that you have mistaken it for your own voice. These are the insidious thoughts that whisper, "You're not smart enough for that career," "You'll never be able to afford a life of freedom," or "All the good opportunities are already taken." These beliefs, gathered from childhood, society, past painful experiences, act like powerful interference, scrambling the clear and beautiful signal of your true desires. The crucial insight here is that you cannot eliminate this static by fighting it, resisting it, or shaming yourself for having it. Doing so only gives it more energy. Instead, you must learn to observe it with a calm, detached curiosity. Throughout your day, begin to practice this mindful awareness. When a limiting belief surfaces, simply notice it as if you were a scientist observing a phenomenon. You might internally say, there is the belief that I am not worthy of success. How interesting." By simply noticing it, instead of unconsciously identifying with it and accepting it as truth, you immediately create a space between you and the thought. You begin to see it not as an undeniable fact, but as a piece of old, outdated mental programming that can be reviewed, questioned, and ultimately rewritten. For example, consider an artist who dreams of selling her work but is paralyzed by fear. Her desire to create is clear, but her inner static is deafening. What if no one likes my art? What if people think I'm a fraud? This fearful frequency sabotages her confidence and prevents her from even taking the first step of showing her work. By learning to first recognize these thoughts as just static, not as reality, she can begin to disentangle her true desire from the noise of her fear, which is the essential first step to cleaning her signal and allowing her creativity to flow. Once you become adept at identifying the static, the next vital step is to intentionally and systematically amplify your core signal of abundance. The most powerful and readily available tool for this amplification is the conscious and consistent practice of gratitude. Gratitude in this context is far more than a polite courtesy or a fleeting positive thought. It is a profound frequency shifter. It is an energetic tuning fork that, when struck, immediately recalibrates your entire being. When your mind is focused on what you lack, the money you don't have, the opportunities you've missed, your dominant frequency is one of scarcity and neediness. This frequency can only attract more experiences of lack. Conversely, when you deliberately focus your attention on what you already possess and appreciate, your frequency instantly shifts to one of abundance, fullness, and sufficiency. This is the frequency that resonates with and attracts more of what you desire. The key is to make this a non-negotiable, deliberate daily practice. Each morning, before your mind gets caught in the day's anxieties, or each evening, as you wind down, take 5 minutes to immerse yourself in the feeling of gratitude. Do not just mentally list things, feel them in your body. Instead of a generic thought like "I'm grateful for my health," go deeper. Feel the gratitude for the strength in your legs that allows you to walk, for the air filling your lungs without effort, for the miraculous beating of your heart. Feel how this genuine appreciation fills you with a sense of peace, security, and wealth that has nothing to do with your bank account. This daily practice acts like a powerful amplifier for your desired frequency, boosting the signal of abundance until it becomes your default state, effortlessly drowning out the quiet, persistent hum of scarcity. Finally, to bring your frequency into laser-sharp focus, you must evolve from holding vague wishes to cultivating specific, emotionally charged, and multisensory visions. A fuzzy, undefined desire like, "I want to be successful," is an incredibly weak and ineffective signal. It lacks the energetic charge and specificity required to command a coherent response from the universe. The universal language is one of precision. Therefore, you must define your true north with such crystalline detail that it feels completely real in your imagination, even before it has physically manifested. This requires you to move beyond mere thinking and into the realm of somatic experience. Create a sacred time each day to close your eyes and run a detailed mental movie of the life you desire. If financial freedom is your goal, what does that actually look like, sound like, and feel like? Do not just see a number on a screen. Imagine yourself logging into your bank account and feeling a profound wave of calm, peace, and absolute security wash over your entire body. Imagine the joyful, stress-free experience of shopping for your family, or the deep satisfaction of making a significant, anonymous donation to a cause you care about. Feel the texture of the airplane seat as you fly first class on a spontaneous trip. Smell the ocean air from the balcony of a beach house you own. Hear the delighted laughter of loved ones you are able to support and spoil. By engaging all of your senses in this way, you are doing something far more powerful than just daydreaming. You are rehearsing your future reality and embodying its frequency in the present moment. This practice transforms a weak, passive wish into a powerful, coherent, and irresistible broadcast that the universe cannot help but respond to. You have now embarked upon the most important journey of all, the one that begins and ends within. By diligently clearing your inner static, amplifying your state of gratitude, and clarifying your ultimate vision, you are no longer a victim of circumstance, shouting into a void. You are a master conductor, tuning your sacred instrument to play a beautiful, clear, and powerful note that will begin to resonate with the grand symphony of the cosmos. But now that you've begun to clarify and strengthen your own frequency, how do you begin to interpret the intricate signals the universe is constantly sending back to you? The world that surrounds you is perpetually communicating through a hidden language of data, numbers, and symbolic patterns. What if you could learn to hear the secret story of abundance that this data is trying to tell you, using it to navigate your path with wisdom and precision? Remember to subscribe to Success Attraction Formula, give this video a like, and comment with your personal opinions or suggestions for channel development. Chapter 2. Hearing the story the data tells. What if every single number that populates your life, from the precise balance in your bank account and the number of likes on your latest post to the ticking date on the calendar, was not a random, arbitrary fact, but a deliberate, coded message sent directly to you? In our society, we are conditioned to see data, especially numbers, as cold, hard, and brutally impersonal. We perceive it as an objective, impartial judge standing over us, delivering a final, unchangeable verdict on our success or failure. A low bank balance doesn't just feel like a number, it feels like a judgment, screaming, "You are incapable and irresponsible." A dip in business sales figures whispers a venomous message, "Your dream is failing, and you are a fraud." We become slaves to this data, checking it compulsively, allowing these external digits to dictate our emotional state for the entire day. A good number brings a fleeting high, while a bad number plunges us into a spiral of anxiety and despair. This reactive perspective turns the rich, informative world of data into a prison. Every number becomes another iron bar on the cage, limiting our sense of possibility and reinforcing our deepest fears about our own inadequacy. We react to this data with a storm of emotion without ever realizing that we are fundamentally misinterpreting the entire conversation. We are listening to the universe's vital navigational feedback as if it were a final condemnation, and in doing so, we miss the profound, loving guidance it is constantly offering. The greatest barrier to decoding these messages is our ingrained belief that data represents the end of the story, when in reality, it is always, without exception, just the beginning of a new one. The profound and liberating shift in perspective required is to stop perceiving data as a verdict and start hearing it as a narrative. Every piece of data that enters your awareness is simply feedback. It is a story the universe is compassionately telling you about your current energetic alignment, a direct, unbiased reflection of the dominant thoughts, core beliefs, and vibrational frequencies you have been broadcasting into the world. Your data is not a measure of your inherent worth as a soul. It is merely a lagging indicator of your past vibrational output. When you learn to listen to it from this empowered perspective, your entire reality transforms. A low bank account is no longer a shameful secret to be hidden. It becomes a fascinating story about your past relationship with money, offering priceless clues on which limiting beliefs need to be lovingly upgraded. A business setback is no longer a personal failure to be mourned. It is vital, strategic market feedback, clearly illuminating where you need to pivot and adjust your energetic approach. This simple but profound shift liberates you from the exhausting emotional roller coaster of constantly reacting to external numbers. It empowers you to become a calm, conscious creator who masterfully uses all data as a navigational tool, much like a ship's captain uses instruments to chart a course through the open sea. You become a data detective, a cosmic storyteller, searching for the clues and patterns that will guide you gracefully toward your highest potential. By learning to expertly interpret the intricate story that data tells, you transform it from a source of fear and limitation into an infinite wellspring of wisdom, direction, and creative power. The first practical step in forging this new, empowered relationship with data is to consciously reframe your financial information as completely neutral feedback. Your bank statement, often one of the most emotionally charged documents in your life, holds absolutely no intrinsic power over you. It is simply a historical record, a ledger of your past energetic exchanges with the world. To put this principle into immediate practice, find your most recent bank or credit card statement. Before you look at it, take a deep breath and set the intention to view it with the detached curiosity of a researcher. Instead of instinctively glancing at the final balance with a sense of dread or judgment, scan the individual transactions with genuine curiosity. For each line item, ask yourself, what story is this transaction telling me about my past beliefs and behaviors? Perhaps you notice a recurring pattern of small, impulsive online purchases. The old disempowering story might be, I have no self-control and I'm destined to be bad with money. The new, insightful, and empowering story could be, this data clearly shows that in the past, I used these small purchases to get a quick hit of dopamine, a way to soothe an underlying feeling of boredom or lack. This is not a judgment. It is a priceless insight. You have just used cold, hard data to identify a specific emotional pattern that is ripe for healing and transformation. By consistently approaching your financial data as a curious storyteller rather than a harsh critic, you uncover the exact energetic leaks that have been silently holding you back from experiencing greater abundance. This practice transforms a statement of account into a powerful statement of self-awareness. Once you begin to master the art of reading the story in your personal data, you can expand your awareness to recognize the more subtle patterns and synchronicities unfolding in the world around you. The universe often communicates in a symbolic language of repetition and unusual timing. These messages can appear as repeating numbers you see on clocks, receipts, or license plates like 1111, 222, or 444. They can manifest as hearing the same obscure song in multiple, unrelated places, or unexpectedly encountering people who possess the exact information or connection you desperately need. The logical, conditioned mind is quick to dismiss these events as meaningless coincidences, but from the higher perspective of universal communication, they are significant, intentional data points. Consider them winks from the cosmos, little nudges that either confirm you are on the right energetic path or gently draw your attention to a particular theme that requires your focus. To harness this subtle form of guidance, start a synchronicity journal. This can be a simple notebook or a note on your phone where you jot down these strange occurrences without feeling pressured to interpret them immediately. For example, you might write, saw a bright blue butterfly 3 times today in unusual places, or had 3 different people mention the city of Denver to me this week. The simple act of recording them signals to the universe that you are paying attention, that you are listening. Over time, as you review your journal, you will be astonished as larger themes, patterns, and clear messages emerge from what once seemed like random noise. You are learning to read the ambient data of reality itself, becoming fluent in the universe's symbolic shorthand. The ultimate purpose of learning to listen to the story of data is to use its wisdom to course correct with agility, not to condemn yourself for past missteps. Data, when understood correctly, compassionately reveals where your broadcasted frequency is out of alignment with your desired reality. Once you possess this invaluable information, you have the power to consciously and deliberately change your frequency, which will in turn inevitably change the story that the data tells in the future. Let's consider an example beyond just finances, such as someone on a health journey. For weeks, they follow a diet and exercise plan, but the number on the scale, the data, refuses to budge. The scarcity mindset sees this data and concludes, "My body is broken. This is pointless. I'm a failure." This conclusion is a dead end, shutting down all possibility. The abundance mindset, armed with the understanding of data as story, hears the feedback differently. It asks, "What is this feedback telling me? The number isn't bad, it's just information. It's telling me that the current combination of actions isn't creating the desired result for my unique body." It's not saying give up, it's saying let's adjust the approach. This individual can then use this neutral feedback to experiment with different foods, try a new form of exercise, or investigate underlying issues like sleep or stress. The data becomes a collaborative partner in their journey to wellness. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You are a responsive, intelligent creator, gracefully dancing with the constant stream of feedback from the universe to bring your grandest visions to life. You are now learning to listen to the universe in a language that once seemed cold, sterile, and intimidating, skillfully transforming numbers and patterns into a rich, guiding narrative. You've begun the essential work of tuning your own internal frequency and listening to the objective data of the world around you. However, there is a much more powerful, subtle, and influential language that governs every single human interaction, every successful negotiation, and every life-changing opportunity, the complex language of human emotion. How can you now learn to decode the invisible, potent wavelengths of human feeling, to build deeper connections, foster powerful collaborations, and effortlessly attract the allies you need to achieve your greatest and most audacious vision? Remember to subscribe to Success Attraction Formula, give this video a like, and comment with your personal opinions or suggestions for channel development. Chapter 3. Decoding the Wavelength of Human Emotion. Imagine for a moment that you possess a unique and powerful ability, the capacity to walk into any room, whether a boardroom or a coffee shop, and instantly sense the invisible energetic currents flowing between the people within it. Imagine knowing, without a single word needing to be spoken, the unspoken hopes, the hidden fears, and the deep-seated motivations that truly drive the person sitting across from you. This is not a fanciful psychic power reserved for a gifted few. It is a learnable, practical skill, and it is arguably the most potent and influential dialect of the universal language. We are raised and educated in a world that overwhelmingly prizes logic, hard facts, and quantitative data, especially in our relentless pursuit of success. We meticulously prepare our resumes, we craft perfectly logical emails, and we construct airtight arguments for why we deserve the promotion, the investment, or the sale. Yet time and time again, we are met with a baffling no that we simply cannot comprehend based on the facts. We are left feeling confused, dejected, and frustrated, wondering where our flawless logic and impeccable preparation failed us. The core of the problem is that we are attempting to communicate on only one narrow channel, the intellectual one, while remaining completely deaf to the powerful underlying frequency that truly governs all significant human decision-making, the undeniable wavelength of emotion. We are essentially broadcasting a text-only message in black and white to an audience that sees, feels, and experiences the world in vibrant, cinematic color. Our persistent failure to connect stems directly from our inability to hear the emotional truth that is hidden just beneath the polished surface of every single human interaction. The solution, therefore, is to dedicate yourself to becoming fluent in the rich, nuanced language of emotional energy. This involves developing what psychologists often call emotional intelligence, but the concept goes even deeper than that. It is the conscious, moment-to-moment recognition that every human interaction, without exception, is at its core an exchange of energy and feeling. Your ultimate success in life, in your career, in your personal relationships, and most certainly in your finances, is directly and inextricably proportional to your ability to accurately read, genuinely understand, and skillfully harmonize with the emotional frequencies of the people around you. When you can intuitively sense the unspoken needs and anxieties of a potential client, you can serve them in a way that builds unshakable trust. When you can accurately understand the underlying fears or insecurities of a team member, you can lead them with a compassion that inspires fierce loyalty. When you can connect with a potential partner or investor on a deeply emotional level, you build a foundation of rapport and goodwill that is far more durable and powerful than any financial projection on a spreadsheet. Learning to decode these emotional wavelengths is akin to gaining a social and professional superpower. It allows you to navigate the complex world of human dynamics with grace, confidence, and authenticity, turning potential conflicts into powerful collaborations and transforming simple, hollow transactions into meaningful, lasting connections. You evolve from simply talking at people to truly and profoundly communicating with them on the level where all important decisions are actually made. The foundational skill for decoding the emotional landscape is to train yourself to listen far beyond the literal words being spoken. The words people choose are often a carefully constructed facade, a mask designed to project a certain image or to protect their vulnerability. The real, unfiltered communication is happening in their tone of voice, the rhythm of their speech, their posture, their subtle facial expressions, and most powerfully, in what they choose not to say. This is the discipline of active empathy. It is listening not with the primary intent to formulate your clever reply, but with the sole purpose of understanding the feeling that is being expressed, both verbally and non-verbally. In your very next conversation, make a conscious effort to practice this. As the other person is speaking, intentionally quiet the part of your brain that is busy preparing your rebuttal or your next point. Instead, tune all of your attention into their emotional broadcast. For example, a valued colleague might say with a flat tone, "It's fine, I'll handle the extra work." The literal words say one thing, but the emotional frequency might be broadcasting resentment, overwhelm, or a feeling of being taken for granted. The emotionally deaf response is, "Great, thanks." The emotionally fluent response is to gently probe beyond the words. "I hear you saying you'll handle it, but I sense there might be more to it. I just want to check in and make sure you're not feeling overloaded." This simple act validates their unspoken feeling and opens the door for a real, honest conversation. You have instantly deepened the trust in that relationship because you chose to listen to the emotion first. Just as you must learn to sensitively listen to the emotions of others, it is equally, if not more, critical to develop a keen awareness of your own emotional broadcast. You are constantly sending out a powerful emotional signal, whether you are conscious of it or not. If you walk into a negotiation feeling desperate and needy to close the deal, that palpable energy of desperation is broadcast like a loud, unpleasant radio signal. Others will feel it, and it will often repel the very outcome you desire by putting them on the defensive. If you approach a difficult conversation with a loved one while seething with unresolved anger, that toxic energy will sabotage any chance of a peaceful and productive resolution. Your internal emotional state sets the energetic tone for every interaction you have. Therefore, before any important meeting, phone call, or conversation, you must learn to perform a quick but honest emotional check-in. Take a moment to pause, close your eyes, and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What energy am I about to bring into this space? Acknowledge the feeling without judgment. If you feel anxious, name it. I am feeling anxiety. Then, take 3 slow, deep breaths to physically calm your nervous system. If you feel insecure, recall a specific time in your life when you felt powerful, successful, and confident, and allow that feeling to fill your body. The goal is never to suppress your emotions, but rather to consciously choose the frequency you wish to broadcast. You want to radiate calm, confidence, genuine interest, and openness, as this is the frequency that invites trust, collaboration, and positive engagement from others. With a growing awareness of both your own emotional state and that of others, you can begin to practice the high art of harmonizing frequencies. This is not about being inauthentic or manipulative. It is the genuine and respectful act of building rapport by finding a shared emotional wavelength. It is about skillfully creating a resonant feeling of we that transcends the typical adversarial me versus you dynamic that characterizes so many human interactions. You achieve this by connecting with the other person's core values, their aspirations, and their emotional world. Let's revisit the entrepreneur pitching to investors. A purely logical pitch focuses on the what, the market size, the technology, the revenue projections. An emotionally resonant pitch also focuses on the why. The entrepreneur could start by telling a compelling story about the human problem her company solves, a story that taps into a universal value the investors also hold, such as the desire for connection, security, or a better future for their children. She would speak with genuine passion, allowing her own authentic belief and excitement to radiate. By doing this, she is not just presenting data, she is inviting the investors to share in her emotional vision. She is tuning her broadcast to resonate with their own unspoken desires for impact and legacy, creating a powerful human-to-human bond that makes them want to be a part of her story, far beyond what the numbers alone could ever achieve. This is the subtle art of harmonization, and it is how visions are successfully broadcasted, funded, and brought into glorious reality. You are now learning to navigate the intricate, invisible, and powerful world of human connection by tuning into the subtle frequencies of emotion. You are learning to harmonize with your own inner world, with the objective data of your environment, and with the rich emotional truths of the people who surround you. But there is another, even more elusive and dynamic frequency band where fortunes are made and futures are decided, the collective consciousness of the market itself. What if you could develop the heightened sensitivity to listen for the faint, predictive signals of emerging trends and massive opportunities before they become obvious to everyone else, positioning yourself for incredible success before the rest of the world even knows which way to turn? Remember to subscribe to Success Attraction Formula, give this video a like, and comment with your personal opinions or suggestions for channel development. Chapter 4. Listening for faint signals from the market. What if the next great business idea, the next life-altering investment, or the next major cultural shift was whispering to you right now? What if the secrets to future fortunes were being broadcasted constantly, but their voices were so quiet, so subtle, that they were completely drowned out by the deafening noise of daily life and mainstream media? This is not a hypothetical scenario. It is the reality of how opportunity manifests in our world. The future does not arrive like a loud thunderclap. It begins as a faint, almost imperceptible hum, a quiet signal that only the most sensitive and attentive receivers can detect. Most people, however, feel as though they are perpetually one step behind the curve. They hear about a booming stock market trend only after it has peaked and is about to correct. They discover a new technology or social platform only after it has become saturated with competition. They feel that success in the marketplace, whether that market is finance, their career, or a new business venture, is an exclusive game of luck reserved for a small circle of insiders who get a secret memo. They see the market as a chaotic, unpredictable, and often cruel beast that can turn on a dime, leaving their best-laid plans in ruins. This perspective creates a deep sense of anxiety and helplessness, forcing them into a reactive posture where they are always chasing yesterday's news, forever playing catch-up in a game they feel they were never invited to play. This feeling of being an outsider, always late to the party, is a direct result of listening only to the loudest signals, unaware of the potent whispers that preceded them. The transformative solution is to fundamentally shift your perception of what the market is. The market is not a random, chaotic machine. It is a vast and complex collective consciousness, a living entity with its own discernible frequency. It is the sum total of millions of human hopes, fears, desires, and unmet needs, all coalescing into a massive, flowing current of energy. And like any energetic system, it sends out faint signals, predictive whispers, and subtle vibrational patterns, long before a new desire or trend erupts into the mainstream. The key to moving from a reactive follower to a proactive creator is to develop a form of market intuition. This is the learnable skill of tuning your awareness to perceive these subtle, predictive, energetic currents. It is about training yourself to listen beneath the surface noise of popular opinion and expert analysis, to hear the quiet, emergent hum of what is coming next. When you can do this, you are no longer gambling or guessing. You are aligning yourself with the formative waves of creation itself. You can position yourself, your investments, or your business to ride the crest of a new trend, not to be swept away by its wake. This skill liberates you from the anxiety of unpredictability and empowers you to become a co-creator with the collective, sensing its needs before the collective itself is fully conscious of them. You become a pioneer, not by chance, but by your heightened sensitivity to the universal language of emergent opportunity. The first principle in developing this sensitivity is learning to tune into the frequency of collective desire. Every major trend, every blockbuster product, every revolutionary business begins not with a product, but with a widespread, often unspoken need or yearning in the collective consciousness. This is the pull of the market. To detect it, you must practice a form of media meditation. This means consuming information, news articles, social media trends, films, music, and art, not for its surface-level content, but for its underlying emotional and energetic current. As you read an article or watch a video, ask yourself, what is the deeper human desire being expressed or sought here? Is it a desire for more connection, for simplicity, for security, for freedom, for authenticity? For example, in recent years, you might have noticed a significant increase in articles, blogs, and social media posts about burnout, digital addiction, and the stress of modern life. A surface-level analysis sees only a collection of complaints. A deeper listening, however, detects a powerful, widespread collective desire for peace, simplicity, and a return to more authentic, analog ways of living. This faint signal, this collective yearning, preceded the boom in industries like wellness retreats, mindfulness apps, craft hobbies like pottery and baking, and the resurgence of vinyl records and film photography. By sensing the emotional pull of the collective, you can anticipate the push of products and services that will arise to meet that need. The second principle is to become a master at identifying emergent patterns from seemingly disconnected data points. Faint signals rarely appear as a single clear announcement. They manifest as a series of small, seemingly unrelated events, ideas, or innovations that, when viewed together, begin to form a recognizable pattern. Your task is to become a trend detective, a patient observer who collects these dots so they can eventually be connected. To put this into practice, keep a dedicated log or journal. This can be a physical notebook or a digital file, where you record interesting new ideas, niche complaints you overhear, novel technologies you read about, or unusual artistic projects you discover. Do not judge or analyze them initially, simply collect them. For instance, in your log you might note, 1. A scientist in a university lab develops a new biodegradable material from mushroom mycelium. 2. A few months later, a major streaming platform releases a popular documentary highlighting the devastating impact of plastic pollution on the oceans. 3. Shortly after that, you notice a small but passionate group of influencers on social media starting to champion a zero-waste lifestyle. To the average person, these are 3 separate, unrelated events. To the trend detective, they are a powerful, convergent pattern. They are a faint but clear signal of a massive cultural and economic shift towards sustainability. This pattern signals future opportunities in sustainable packaging, eco-friendly fashion, regenerative agriculture, and countless other industries. By consciously collecting these disparate data points, you train your mind to see the underlying mosaic that others miss. The third and perhaps most crucial principle is to listen to the innovators, the artists, and the voices on the fringe. The future very rarely starts in the center of society. It is born on the edges. Mainstream adoption is the final, loudest, and often least profitable phase of a trend's life cycle. The real energetic power and opportunity lie in the very beginning, with the pioneers who are often dismissed as weird, impractical, or too far ahead of their time. To hear the market's faintest signals, You must actively seek out and pay attention to these fringe voices. This means pushing beyond your usual media diet. Follow niche blogs in fields you know nothing about. Attend unconventional online conferences. Read the manifestos of artists and activists. Explore the forums where early adopters and tech idealists passionately debate nascent ideas. For example, decades before electric vehicles became a mainstream reality championed by major automakers, the idea was kept alive and passionately debated within small, fringe communities of environmental activists, amateur engineers, and tech utopians. Listening to their conversations back then, conversations dismissed by the mainstream as impractical fantasy, would have been like hearing a very faint but incredibly potent signal about the future of transportation. These voices on the edge are the sensitive antennas of the collective consciousness, picking up on the future long before it becomes the present. Learning to listen to them is like gaining access to the market's R&D department. You have now learned to listen with a new level of sensitivity, to your own inner world, to the objective data around you, to the powerful currents of human emotion, and now to the faint, predictive whispers of the market. You have effectively become a master receiver, capable of gathering intelligence from multiple dimensions of reality. But listening, however skillful, is only half of the great equation of creation. The other half is broadcasting. How do you now take your own unique vision, informed by this deep listening, and broadcast it with such power, clarity, and coherence that it commands attention, inspires action, and magnetizes the people and resources needed to make it a tangible reality across all frequencies? Remember to subscribe to Success Attraction Formula, give this video a like, and comment with your personal opinions or suggestions for channel development. Chapter 5. Broadcasting your vision on all frequencies. Imagine for a moment that your greatest dream, the business you long to create, the book you need to write, the movement you want to lead, is a powerful radio station, fully equipped and ready to go live. The message is pure, the potential audience is global, and its broadcast has the power to change lives. Now ask yourself honestly, do you know how to build the broadcast tower high enough to reach everyone? Do you know how to amplify the signal so it cuts through the static of a noisy world? Do you know how to transmit on every available frequency so that every type of listener, no matter their disposition, can tune in and receive your message? This is the critical challenge that separates dreamers from creators. So many people carry brilliant ideas, world-changing innovations, and heartfelt visions locked away inside their minds and hearts. They possess the what, but lack the how. They are unable to communicate their vision in a way that truly inspires others, attracts the necessary funding, builds a loyal community, or mobilizes a dedicated team. Their broadcast is weak, inconsistent, or transmitted on the wrong channel entirely. As a result, their magnificent, world-altering dream dies in silence, never reaching the audience it was meant to serve. This quiet death of a vision is one of the greatest tragedies of human potential, born not from a lack of passion, but from a lack of understanding of how to make oneself heard. The transformative solution is to consciously evolve from being just a dreamer into being a master broadcaster. This is the art and science of taking the intangible vision within you and encoding it into multiple frequencies so that it can be received and understood by the widest possible audience. A successful vision cannot exist on a single plane of communication. It must be broadcast simultaneously across the entire spectrum of human perception. It requires you to transmit with clarity on the intellectual frequency, with passion on the emotional frequency, and with unshakable integrity on the energetic frequency. Becoming a master broadcaster means you no longer hope that people will understand your vision. You strategically and intentionally ensure that they do. It is about building a broadcast tower so tall and a signal so powerful that it becomes a beacon, a gravitational point in the consciousness of others. When you learn to broadcast on all frequencies, you stop chasing after support and resources. Instead, your powerful, coherent signal begins to magnetize them to you. The right people, the perfect opportunities, and the necessary funding are drawn into your orbit, not by force or persuasion, but by the irresistible pull of your clear, resonant, and multidimensional vision. The first and most foundational frequency is the intellectual one. This is the blueprint of your vision, the what, the how, and the for whom. Before anyone can get excited about your dream, they must first be able to understand it. Ambiguity is the enemy of momentum. If your vision is fuzzy, complex, or difficult to explain, it will be impossible for others to grasp, let alone support. The key to mastering this frequency is to distill your vision down to its absolute, undeniable essence. A powerful exercise for this is to develop your one-sentence vision. Challenge yourself to articulate your entire project, business, or goal in a single, powerful, and simple sentence that a child could understand. This act forces you to achieve radical clarity. For instance, an aspiring entrepreneur with a complex software idea might initially describe it with a paragraph full of technical jargon. This is a weak broadcast. After working on their one-sentence vision, they might arrive at, "We create software that helps freelance artists manage their finances in under 5 minutes a week." This statement is clear, specific, and immediately understandable. It defines the product, the target audience, and the primary benefit. It is a clean, powerful, intellectual signal. This one sentence becomes the cornerstone of your entire communication strategy. The headline of your website, the first line of your business plan, and the answer you give when someone asks what you do. It is the architectural blueprint upon which your entire broadcast is built. Once the intellectual blueprint is clear, you must learn to broadcast on the emotional frequency. This is the why behind your vision, and it is arguably the most important frequency for inspiring action. Human beings are not primarily logical creatures. We are emotional creatures who use logic to justify our feelings. People may understand your vision intellectually, but they will only act on it when they connect with it emotionally. You must learn to wrap your logical blueprint in a compelling and authentic narrative that connects with universal human values. The most powerful way to do this is to craft and share your origin story. Why are you, specifically, so passionate about this vision? What personal struggle, profound insight, or deeply felt experience gave birth to this dream? Sharing this story requires vulnerability, but it is this very vulnerability that creates trust and connection. For example, let's return to the entrepreneur with the financial software for artists. Their intellectual pitch is clear, but their emotional broadcast is what will secure an investor's belief or a customer's loyalty. They might share their personal story. As a struggling musician for 10 years, I almost gave up on my dream, not because I lacked passion, but because the stress of managing invoices and taxes was crushing my creative spirit. I created this software so that no other artist has to choose between their art and their solvency. This story of struggle, empathy, and a desire to serve is the emotional frequency that transforms a simple software product into a meaningful mission. It allows others to see themselves in your journey and to feel a part of something bigger than just a transaction. The third and most potent frequency is the energetic one. This frequency is not about what you say or how you say it. It is about the energy you hold and the person you are being. It is the silent, constant broadcast of your own belief, integrity, and commitment. This is the frequency of embodiment. You must live and breathe your vision, not just talk about it. If there is a gap between the vision you articulate and the person you are, this energetic incongruence will be felt by everyone, creating a sense of distrust. The most powerful practice for mastering this frequency is to act as if. This does not mean being fake. It means making your daily choices and taking your daily actions from the perspective of the person who has already achieved the vision. Ask yourself throughout the day, how would the successful leader of this movement handle this challenge? How would the celebrated author of this book structure their day? How would the CEO of this thriving company treat their employees? For example, the entrepreneur seeking funding doesn't just put on a confident suit for the investor meeting. They embody the energy of a successful, trustworthy CEO in every aspect of their life. They treat their 2 current employees with the same respect they would a team of 200. They handle a customer complaint with the same grace and seriousness as if they had 1,000,000 customers. This congruent, embodied energy is the most powerful broadcast of all. It sends a clear, unwavering signal to the universe and to everyone around you. I am not just trying to do this. I am this. I am ready. You are now a powerful receiver and a master broadcaster, capable of both hearing the subtle guidance of the universe and transmitting your own unique vision with clarity, passion, and force. You have the tools to listen and the tools to speak in the universal language. But what happens when these signals seem to conflict? What do you do when your inner voice guides you one way, but the market data points in the opposite direction? What happens when your emotional commitment to an idea is met with logical resistance from others? The final and most advanced skill you must learn is the art of harmonizing every one of these disparate signals into a single, coherent, and unstoppable masterpiece of creation. Remember to subscribe to Success Attraction Formula. Give this video a like and comment with your personal opinions or suggestions for channel development. Chapter 6. The Art of Harmonizing Every Signal. Imagine a master conductor standing before a grand orchestra, ready to perform a breathtaking symphony. In one moment, the violins begin to play a beautiful, soaring melody. In the next, the brass section erupts with a completely different, clashing theme. Meanwhile, the percussion lays down a rhythm that seems to belong to another song entirely. The result is not music, it is an unbearable cacophony, a chaotic mess of noise that pains the ear and confuses the soul. Your life, in its most creative and dynamic state, is this orchestra. Your intuition is the string section, your logical mind is the brass, and the feedback from the external world is the percussion. As you become more skilled in the universal language, you become more sensitive to each of these instruments. The problem is, you may find that they often seem to be playing from different sheets of music. Your deep inner knowing, Chapter 1, might be urging you to take a bold leap of faith and start a new venture, but the cold, hard financial data, Chapter 2, screams that it is far too risky. Your powerful emotional connection to a creative project, Chapter 3, feels unshakable, but the faint signals from the market, Chapter 4, suggest that the world simply isn't ready for your idea. This influx of conflicting information can lead to a state of profound confusion and analysis paralysis, leaving you stuck at a crossroads, unable to act with the conviction and clarity needed to move forward. You are caught in the chaotic noise, unable to hear the symphony that is trying to emerge. The ultimate mastery of the universal language lies not just in learning to hear each individual signal, but in learning the subtle and profound art of harmonization. It is the ability to stand as the conductor of your own life and synthesize all of the seemingly contradictory messages, from your inner self, from the external world, and from the emotional landscape, into a single, unified, and powerful course of action. The transformative mindset shift is to deeply understand and trust that no single signal ever tells the whole story. True wisdom is found in the triangulation of these messages. It requires a deep faith that the universe is not trying to confuse you with conflicting data, but is instead offering you a richer, more nuanced, and more resilient path forward. The clash of notes is not a mistake. It is an invitation to create a more complex and beautiful chord. Harmonization is the skill of holding the creative tension between these different frequencies until the underlying, unified masterpiece reveals itself. It is about recognizing that your intuition, your logic, and the world's feedback are not enemies at war, but partners in a sacred dance of creation. The first and most important principle of harmonization is to honor your inner frequency, your intuition, as your true north. This is your anchor, the foundational signal against which all other signals must be measured. Your deep intuitive knowing points to the what of your soul's purpose. All other signals, market data, financial statements, the opinions of others, are merely feedback and context for how to best manifest that core vision, not if you should pursue it. When you are faced with conflicting signals, your first action must always be to return to the silence and reconnect with that inner voice. Ask yourself, is this external signal offering me a smarter, more effective way to achieve my core vision, or is it trying to distract me and pull me away from it entirely? For example, let's say your powerful intuition has been guiding you for months to open a unique yoga and wellness studio in your town. You feel it in your bones. It is your calling. However, after doing some research, listening to the data, you discover that there are already 5 other yoga studios within a 10-mile radius. The data signal seems to scream no. The untrained person would see this conflict and abandon their dream. The master harmonizer, however, holds their intuition as the anchor. The vision is non-negotiable. Therefore, they use the external data not as a stop sign, but as a steering wheel. The question becomes, given that the market has a lot of general yoga, how can my studio be different? What unique frequency can I broadcast that the community is clearly missing? Perhaps the data on local demographics shows a large population of seniors or a rise in corporate burnout. The harmonized action, then, is not to abandon the vision, but to refine it, to create a specialized studio focusing on gentle yoga for seniors or mindfulness programs for corporate wellness. The external data did not kill the dream. It helped it evolve into its most viable and needed form. The second principle is to consciously use all external data as the how, not the if. View market signals, financial feedback, and others' emotional responses not as judgments on your vision's worthiness, but as strategic guidance. They are the road signs, the weather reports, and the topographical maps that help you navigate the terrain on the way to your destination. A powerful practice for this is scenario mapping. Take your core, non-negotiable vision and on a piece of paper, map out several different potential paths to achieve it, with each path being informed by a different external signal. For example, your core vision is to write a book that shares your life-changing message. Your inner frequency and emotional commitment are strong. However, you receive feedback from several literary agents, the data, that the market for that specific genre is currently very weak. The unharmonized response is despair and inaction. The harmonized response is strategic scenario mapping. Path A, honor the data by self-publishing the book, using social media to build a grassroots audience directly. Path B, re-angle the book's core message to fit into a more currently popular genre without compromising its essential truth. Path C, acknowledge that I need a stronger platform first. Start a blog or podcast on the book's theme to prove the concept, build a community, and then reapproach agents with new, compelling data of my own. Notice how in every scenario, the core vision of writing the book remains intact. The external data simply informs the strategy, the how, transforming a frustrating roadblock into an empowering set of choices. The third and final element of true harmonization is to learn to trust in the divine rhythm and timing of the universe. This is perhaps the most advanced and surrender-based skill. Sometimes signals appear to conflict for one simple reason. The timing isn't right yet. A no from the market might not mean never. It might simply mean not yet. A lack of resources might not be a sign that your vision is flawed, but an invitation to develop your own inner resources first. Learning to harmonize means you can discern the difference between a true dead end and a temporary pause. The key action here is to cultivate active patience. This is not a passive, helpless waiting. It is the practice of continuing to do your inner work, to hold the vision, to embody the energy of its fulfillment, and to refine your skills, while you patiently wait for the external conditions to align. For instance, an inventor might have a brilliant, world-changing product concept, a clear inner signal, but the technology to manufacture it affordably, the data signal, simply does not exist yet. The harmonized response is not to abandon the idea in frustration. It is to practice active patience. He continues to refine the prototype, file patents, build his professional network, and deepen his own expertise. He trusts that the universe is working behind the scenes. Then, years later, when a breakthrough in manufacturing technology occurs, he is not starting from scratch. He is perfectly and instantly positioned to act, his vision and the market's readiness finally clicking into perfect harmonious alignment. Becoming a master of the universal language is to become a master conductor of your life. It is a lifelong, beautiful dance between listening and broadcasting, between unwavering intention and flexible strategy, between decisive action and graceful surrender. The goal is not to create a life free from conflicting signals or challenging feedback. The goal is to develop the wisdom to use the creative tension between those signals to produce something far more nuanced, resilient, and magnificent than any single, simple note could ever be on its own. The apparent chaos was never chaos at all. It was always the sound of a symphony in the making. We have journeyed together through the essential dialects of the universal language, the sacred art of communicating with the cosmos to create the life you desire. We began by learning the most important lesson, to first turn inward and tune your own frequency, clearing the static of doubt to broadcast a clear signal of your true desire. From that place of inner clarity, we learned to listen to the world around us, decoding the hidden stories in the data and numbers that govern our lives. We expanded our senses to perceive the powerful, invisible currents of human emotion, the true language of connection and influence. We then sharpened our focus to hear the faintest whispers of the market, sensing the future before it arrives. Armed with this profound ability to listen, you learned how to become a master broadcaster, transmitting your own vision on every frequency, intellectual, emotional, and energetic, to magnetize the support you need. Finally, you learned the ultimate art of harmonization, weaving all these signals together into a single, coherent symphony of creation. You now hold the complete blueprint for conscious manifestation. As you move forward from this day, remember that you are in a constant conversation with the universe. Listen with courage, speak with clarity, and conduct the magnificent orchestra of your life with the love and mastery you were born to express. Thank you for investing your time and energy with us on this journey. Your attention is a precious gift, and we are deeply grateful to have shared this space with you. If this guide has resonated with you, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the Success Attraction Formula channel to continue your learning. We would love to hear about your own experiences and insights in the comments below.